The 1965 United States quarter dollar, inscribed with the proud words Liberty, In God We Trust, and E Pluribus Unum, represents one of the most historically significant turning points in American coinage, marking the moment when the nation's coins shifted from their centuries-old silver composition to a more modern and economical clad metal structure. To truly understand this coin, one must look beyond its physical appearance and delve into the broader social, economic, and historical context that shaped its creation, design, and enduring symbolism. The story begins in the early 1960s, when the United States faced an unprecedented coin shortage that threatened everyday commerce. People across the nation were hoarding coins made of silver, dimes, quarters, and half dollars, because the rising market price of silver meant that the metal content of these coins was worth more than their face value. Businesses were struggling to make change, banks were running low on coinage, and vending machines stood idle for lack of small currency. President Lyndon B. Johnson's administration, recognizing the seriousness of the situation, decided to overhaul the U.S. coinage system. The result was the Coinage Act of 1965, a piece of legislation that fundamentally altered the metallic composition of U.S. coins. Signed into law on July 23, 1965, it removed silver from the dime and quarter entirely and reduced it in the half dollar, substituting a new clad composition that consisted of an inner core of pure copper bonded between two outer layers of a copper-nickel alloy. This change produced coins that still appeared silver in color but were far less expensive to manufacture and resistant to hoarding because they lacked intrinsic precious metal value. The 1965 quarter thus became the first of its kind, marking the end of the silver era in circulating American coinage and the beginning of the modern age of clad money. The design of the 1965 quarter, however, remained the same as that introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Sculptor John Flanagan's depiction of Washington, modeled after the celebrated bust by French neoclassical artist Jean-Antoine Houdon, continued to grace the obverse of the coin. The portrait shows Washington facing left, his expression calm yet resolute, embodying the dignity and leadership of the nation's first president. Above his head, the word Liberty stretches boldly across the top rim of the coin, a simple but powerful declaration of one of the core values upon which the United States was founded. To the left of Washington's neck and slightly below his chin appears the national motto, In God We Trust, a phrase first introduced on U.S. coins during the Civil War and later mandated on all coinage by the Act of 1955. This inscription reflects the deep spiritual heritage and moral convictions of the nation, affirming the belief that faith in divine guidance stands at the heart of American identity. Beneath Washington's portrait, the date 1965 is prominently displayed, identifying the coin as belonging to this pivotal transitional year in U.S. monetary history. The reverse of the coin, also designed by Flanagan, depicts a majestic bald eagle, symbol of the United States, with its wings spread wide in a display of power and freedom. The eagle clutches a bundle of arrows in its talons, representing readiness to defend the nation, while beneath it lies an olive branch, signifying the desire for peace. Above the eagle's head, in large capital letters, appears United States of America, and just below that, the Latin phrase E Pluribus Unum, which translates to out of many one. This ancient motto, originally proposed for the Great Seal of the United States in 1776, speaks to the unity of the American people and the strength found in diversity, the idea that many different states and citizens come together to form a single, united nation. At the bottom of the reverse, the denomination quarter dollar is engraved, confirming the coin's value of 25 cents. Unlike most other years, no mint marks were used on quarters dated 1965. This was a deliberate decision by the U.S. Mint to discourage the hoarding of new coins. Collectors had begun setting aside vast numbers of coins with distinctive mint marks, such as D for Denver or S for San Francisco, leading to further shortages in circulation. By omitting mint marks, the Mint hoped to make all 1965 dated coins appear identical, thereby reducing the incentive to collect them in bulk. As a result, while 1965 quarters were actually struck at multiple mint facilities, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, none bear any distinguishing mark to indicate their origin. The total mintage for the 1965 quarter exceeded 1.8 billion pieces, an enormous figure reflecting the government's determination to replenish the nation's coin supply. These coins were produced in massive quantities throughout next top. The 1985 United States quarter dollar, commonly known as the Washington quarter, is a circulating coin struck by the Denver Mint, as denoted by the small d mint mark located on the obverse front side of the coin, just to the right of George Washington's ponytail ribbon. This coin belongs to the long-running Washington Quarter series, which began in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The obverse features a left-facing portrait of George Washington, designed by sculptor John Flanagan, whose initials can be faintly seen on the truncation of Washington's neck. Above Washington's head arches the word liberty, symbolizing the foundational value of freedom that defines the United States. Beneath Washington's chin is the American motto, "In God We Trust," a phrase formally adopted on U.S. coins during the Civil War era and emblematic of the nation's faith heritage. Below the portrait appears the date, 1985, marking the year of issue, while the D Mint mark indicates that it was produced at the Denver Mint in Colorado, one of the major facilities of the United States mint system. The reverse side of the 1985 D quarter carries the iconic design of a heraldic eagle with its wings spread majestically, clutching a bundle of arrows in its talons, a symbol of the United States' readiness to defend liberty, while an olive branch below signifies the nation's desire for peace. The inscriptions United States of America and E pluribus unum appear above the eagle, the latter meaning out of many one, a Latin phrase that emphasizes unity among the diverse states forming the republic. The denomination quarter dollar is boldly engraved along the lower rim, clearly indicating its face value of 25 cents. The coin's edge is reeded, a feature originally introduced in earlier coinage to prevent fraudulent shaving of precious metal from the edges, and it remains a hallmark of U.S. quarters today. From a technical standpoint, the 1985 D quarter is composed of a copper-nickel-clad structure, a core of pure copper bonded between two outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving the coin its distinct silvery appearance. This composition replaced the earlier 90% silver alloy used in quarters prior to 1965, following the Coinage Act of 1965, which eliminated silver from circulating dimes and quarters to reduce production costs amid rising silver prices. Each 1985 D quarter weighs approximately 5.67 grams, has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, and a thickness of 1.75 millimeters. The Denver Mint struck an impressive over 520 million pieces of the 1985 D quarter, making it a common coin in circulation. Its large mintage means that most examples found today carry only their face value, 25 cents, unless they are in exceptionally high uncirculated or proof-like condition. In terms of collectability, circulated 1985 D quarters are quite ordinary and remain plentiful in pocket change, but pristine examples graded MS 65 or higher by professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC can fetch a modest premium among collectors. These high-grade specimens are valued for their sharp details, lustrous surfaces, and minimal contact marks. Rare error coins, such as those featuring off-center strikes, double dies, or planchet errors, can command higher prices depending on severity and visibility. As a mid-1980s coin, the 1985 D quarter belongs to a transitional period in U.S. coinage when the mint focused heavily on striking efficiency, meaning that many coins from this era show strong, consistent strikes but sometimes display dull luster due to the mass production process. The mottos and inscriptions on the 1985 D quarter are deeply symbolic. "In God We Trust," appearing since the 1860s, serves as a moral and spiritual statement, reflecting the enduring national sentiment toward divine guidance. "Liberty," which crowns the obverse, reflects both Washington's legacy as the leader who fought for independence and the central principle of the American experiment. The reverse's E pluribus unum reaffirms national unity amidst diversity, a value increasingly significant during the 1980s a decade of economic growth and shifting global politics. These inscriptions combine with the eagle motif to encapsulate American ideals of strength, faith, and freedom. Although most 1985 quarters remain in everyday circulation, they still offer historical charm. Hamling 1 connects you with a continuous lineage of Washington quarters that spans nearly a century. The design remained largely unchanged until the introduction of the 50-state quarters program in 1999, which began replacing the eagle reverse with state-themed designs. Thus, the 1985 quarter represents the last generation of traditional Washington quarters, a bridge between the early commemorative vision of 1932 and the more modern, thematic issues of the 21st century. Even without silver content or rarity, it holds historical and sentimental worth. Next up. The 1986 United States quarter dollar, commonly referred to as the Washington quarter, is a coin of remarkable historical and cultural significance in American numismatics. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, indicated by the small P mint mark placed just to the right of George Washington's ponytail on the obverse, the 1986 quarter represents one of the millions of pieces produced that year for general circulation. The Washington quarter design itself dates back to 1932, when it was first issued to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the birth of George Washington, the nation's first president, and an enduring symbol of leadership, integrity, and liberty. The sculptor John Flanagan, whose initials can be seen subtly engraved on the truncation of Washington's neck, designed both sides of the coin. The obverse front features the left-facing bust of George Washington, which has become one of the most recognized and respected portraits in American coinage. Above Washington's head, in bold capital letters, appears the word liberty, reminding citizens of the founding principle upon which the nation was built. Just below Washington's chin is the national motto, "In God We Trust," which has appeared on U.S. coins since the Civil War and became mandatory on all U.S. currency by law in 1955. Beneath the bust lies the date, 1986, marking the year of minting, while to the right is the P mint mark of Philadelphia, a relatively recent addition at the time, since the P first appeared on quarters only in 1980. The reverse back of the coin displays the classic and dignified heraldic eagle design, also by John Flanagan. The eagle stands with wings spread wide, symbolizing both vigilance and freedom, and clutches a bundle of arrows in its talons, representing the nation's readiness to defend its liberty, while beneath the arrows rests an olive branch, signifying America's preference for peace over war. Arched above the eagle's head is the inscription, "United States of America," affirming the issuing nation, and directly below it is the Latin motto, "E pluribus unum," which translates as "out of many, one." This phrase expresses the enduring American ideal of unity among diversity, the coming together of many states, peoples, and backgrounds to form one nation. Below the eagle is the coin's denomination, quarter dollar, identifying its face value of 25 cents. The coin's edge is reeded, a design feature carried over from the days when coins contained silver, originally intended to deter clipping or shaving of precious metal. From a technical standpoint, the 1986 Washington quarter was struck in the copper-nickel-clad composition that had become standard for quarters since 1965, following the elimination of silver due to rising costs. Its structure consists of an inner core of pure copper sandwiched between two outer layers of a 75% copper and 25% nickel alloy, giving the coin its characteristic silvery appearance and durability. The coin measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter, 1.75 millimeters in thickness, and weighs approximately 5.67 grams. Like all clad quarters, its edge displays a visible copper stripe when viewed from the side, revealing the layered composition. The Philadelphia Mint struck approximately 551,199,000 quarters in 1986, meaning that the 1986 issue is quite common in circulation today. Because of this large mintage, most circulated examples hold only their face value, but well-preserved, uncirculated pieces with full luster and sharp details can command modest premiums in the collector market, especially in grades of MS 65 or higher. In the context of American history, the 1986 P quarter falls within an era of stability and technological advancement in U.S. coin production. During the 1980s, the U.S. Mint refined its high-speed minting processes, producing billions of coins annually with consistent quality. While the Washington quarter design had remained virtually unchanged since 1932, its continued use symbolized the strength of tradition and the nation's reverence for its founding leader. By 1986, the design had already been in circulation for over half a century, enduring through the Great Depression, World War II, and the Cold War, a silent witness to America's evolving identity. The mottos and inscriptions on the 1986 P quarter each carry deep patriotic meaning. Liberty embodies the very essence of the American Revolution, representing both political freedom and personal independence, values George Washington himself fought to preserve. The phrase, "In God we trust," serves as a moral compass, reflecting the country's acknowledgement of faith and providence. Meanwhile, E pluribus unum encapsulates the spirit of unity that has guided the United States through centuries of change. The heraldic eagle, a traditional emblem of American sovereignty since the late 18th century, stands as a visual affirmation of national pride and resilience. The balance between the eagle's arrows and neck's top. The 1995 P United States quarter dollar is part of the long-running Washington quarter series, one of the most familiar and widely circulated coins in American history. Minted at the Philadelphia Mint, as shown by the small P mint mark on the obverse, this quarter represents not just a piece of everyday currency, but a continuation of more than 6 decades of American artistry, symbolism, and national pride. The design traces back to 1932, when the U.S. Mint introduced the Washington quarter to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, replacing the standing Liberty quarter that had been in production since 1916. The obverse, created by John Flanagan, features a left-facing profile of President Washington derived from the famous neoclassical sculpture by Jean-Antoine Houdon, sculpted from life in 1786 at Mount Vernon. Above his head, the bold inscription Liberty spans the upper rim of the coin, symbolizing the central principle upon which the United States was founded. Just beneath his chin is the national motto, "In God We Trust," first placed on U.S. coins during the Civil War era and formally adopted on all currency as an affirmation of faith, moral foundation, and gratitude toward divine guidance. To the right of Washington's neck appears the P mint mark, signifying Philadelphia, and directly beneath his bust lies the year of issue, 1995, a date that situates this coin in the final years before the Washington quarter's original eagle reverse was replaced by the statehood designs in 1999. The reverse side of the coin also carries Flanagan design, dominated by a majestic heraldic eagle perched on a bundle of arrows, its wings spread wide in vigilance and strength, representing the United States' readiness to defend liberty and justice when necessary. Below the arrows rests an olive branch, symbolic of peace and diplomacy, illustrating the delicate balance the nation strives to maintain between might and mercy. Encircling the top of the reverse is the proud inscription, United States of America, beneath which appears E pluribus unum, the Latin motto meaning, out of many, one, a phrase that reflects the unity of the states and the diversity of their people under a single federal union. Along the bottom rim is the denomination quarter dollar, declaring its face value of 25 cents, a denomination that has been vital to everyday commerce since the earliest years of the U.S. Mint. Physically, the 1995 P quarter follows the modern clad composition introduced in 1965, consisting of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, giving the coin its silvery hue without the high cost of silver metal. This construction provides both durability and resistance to corrosion, allowing coins to circulate for decades without significant wear. The quarter has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, a weight of 5.67 grams, a thickness of 1.75 millimeters, and a reeded edge, whose fine grooves are a vestige from the days when coins were made of precious metal, originally added to discourage shaving or clipping small amounts of silver or gold. In 1995, The Philadelphia Mint struck approximately 1,004,336,000 quarters, surpassing the 1 billion mark and making it a common circulation issue. The sheer volume of production ensured that these coins flowed through millions of hands across the country, buying groceries, paying tolls, and serving as change in daily commerce, quietly continuing the economic rhythm of the United States. Because of this high mintage, most 1995 P quarters are not rare, and circulated examples generally hold only their face value. However, collectors still prize uncirculated or mint state examples, especially those with bright luster, sharp strike, and minimal surface marks. Grading services such as PCGS and NGC evaluate coins on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, and high-grade 1995 P quarters and MS 67 or MS 68 condition can command premium prices, sometimes ranging from $50 to $150, due to their scarcity in such pristine preservation. In addition, rare mint errors, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or clipped planchets, can make individual coins far more valuable, depending on the nature and visibility of the error. Beyond its numismatic aspects, the 1995 P quarter carries deep symbolic and historical meaning. The Washington portrait evokes the virtues of leadership, courage, and integrity associated with the nation's first president, while the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" reflect the spiritual and moral ideals that have guided the United States since its founding. On the reverse, the eagle with its arrows and olive branch embodies the enduring balance between strength and peace that defines American foreign policy and national identity. The Latin phrase "e pluribus unum" reminds citizens of their shared purpose despite differences in geography, culture, and belief. Thus, every 1995 P quarter functions not only as a moneta,